Hello everyone, welcome to Spill. Thank you for listening, thank you for tuning in. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you. Please follow. If you listen on Apple Music, please. I don't know, actually, can you follow on Apple Music? I don't know. Can you? If you can do that, then do that. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. We now have a Patreon. I'm going to put the link here. Please consider joining our Patreon for like £2 a month or £4 a month, I can't remember what it is. You'll see it on there. That's my incentive for you to go and look and find out for yourself.
You spend more on your little apps and stuff that are just there
your little,
out our time.
your little apps.
I had this the other day when I'm ignoring all of my screens like time things, and so sometimes they'll be like, "You have 5 minutes left remaining on your," and I'm like, and I'm just gonna hit ignore limit for the day.
Yeah, and it's crazy how that becomes just part of the. It's like, oh, it's just a button I have to press to continue my usage now. It's not. It's like I've just built that into my limits have become part of the normality.
And that's not to be dismissive, but I'm like, £4 a month, behave. You spend more on Dropbox and Apple storage that we don't need. Behave yourself.
We appreciate you signing up, brother. How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling very. I felt like our last conversation that we had last week was amazing, because it really sat with me. The resonance of just acceptance and dealing and being okay with where you are and not getting caught up with where you're projected to be and just that stuff that really takes away your joy.
Yeah, man.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it makes the easy stuff hard and the hard stuff even harder.
It was very healing for me, man. That entire conversation was a real safe space, to use an overused phrase, but it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And just being okay with being open. No. I appreciate us and what we're developing in these moments and stuff. And yeah, long may it continue.
Bro. I think one thing that people might not realise when listening to this is that we never decide what we're going to talk about until we just sit down.
100%.
And so just a second ago, I was like, what should we chat about? And I was like, yeah, about you've been following the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp trial and all that stuff.
I've been seeing bits and pieces of it, but it kind of, I'll be honest, like a lot of what happens in celebrity culture, it's that thing where it's just like, okay, cool, I don't really want to get too overly invested in this because I don't know how much is real and I don't know how much is PR, and I'm not privy to all of the parts, and I know how mainstream media works, and so sometimes it's just easy to go, do you know what, you man figure it out, and when you know what you want to do, follow. Does that make sense?
And if it's so pressing, then I guess I'll find out in my actual life anyway. You know what I mean? I have a strange relationship with that sort of celebrity stuff because, like, I'm lying if I say I'm not like absolutely fascinated by every aspect of that. And like obviously the industries we work in, come in contact with and work with a lot of people with a lot of tension on a regular basis. So I'm very interested in that. Although it's immediately normalised when you meet someone, you're just like, oh, you're actually underwhelmingly human. You know what I mean? Yes. But like, this trial is interesting because I feel like when things are this big, this is getting like millions of live views every day that's going on, right? And part of me is like, anything that big can't not be important. And I don't even mean that in like what everyone's doing. I mean like the way our culture, like not even our culture, the way our attention has evolved.
Right.
To look at what's important. Like that old thing about how if information survives, like what did I say, like truisms, like if information survives thousands of years, if there's a saying that's lasted thousands of years, something Shakespeare said that's lasted, it's because it has enough truth that everyone's like, shit, yeah, isn't it?
The truth stands alone.
Bro, I said that. Ever since you said that in the podcast, episode 2, I said that all the time.
No support.
Needs no introduction.
It does what it does.
Yeah, bro, 100%.
But can I just, it was funny, as you were talking, I had an intrinsic nudge.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just a little push.
Brother. So, this is going to sound so unrelated. I got Disney Plus in it.
Is it?
Bruv,
yeah.
You know, because I gave you my details.
Oh, yeah.
Bruv.
I was trying to keep that quiet, man.
Oh, sorry, my bad. You don't know my details.
I know. What's Disney Plus, isn't it? What's that?
So on Disney Plus, they've got the whole Star Wars saga. Oh, bro. You know the best way to describe the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing? The Empire Strikes Back.
You know, you thought it was done. A Death Star done got destroyed.
Listen, these man went, here's the maddest thing. The Harvey Weinstein situation, it opened the lid of a toxic culture, very evil, in its practice.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And I'm talking pure evil,
and heavily grandfathered into the entire foundations of the industry.
So if nature predicates culture. Right. Culture sets standards. Standards executes protocols. So you now take out, or appear to take out, what I call a foundational pillar of the structure. Okay, that's a good thing. Momentum builds. Now everybody is kind of like, oh Lord, I didn't think this was gonna be a reprisal.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you wait for a moment to find weakness in the solution. And then what you do is you expose the solution and you compromise it in such a way that now what we have is this grey. And it's a bit like how I feel with America and its First Amendment, which is the gun law, right?
A Second Amendment, I think.
Is it
I could be
Amendment?
wrong.
The
Jahmal,
right
do
to
you mind
bear
checking
arms. Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
But we'll check that. The right to bear arms. Now, we know that the face or the surface intention of that isn't bad. Because
in its intention is protect yourself, defend yourself, look after people you love. And
it's defend yourself, but protect those that you love.
Yeah.
But we realise those who were put in place to love and protect us hated and wanted to basically expose us. So
yeah. Second Amendment.
The Second Amendment. Thank you.
Should we know that,
bro? But no, well, not really.
I say that
I mean, yeah, but we're not.
I'm not trying to get a gun.
Yeah, real talk. Why
I'm not
do I need to get a gun,
bro? I'm
good.
My cooking knives are too sharp, bro.
And these men don't even know what they're doing. But then you have groups of people that go, okay, you wrote this for you. That's meant to be for us, but you use it in a way that really benefits you. Because if I have the thing that we are, or I'm protected from in the law, you have a loophole that allows you to consistently sit above me. So what it then does is something that should be quite black and white, because the intention of the nature of it should be pretty clear.
Yeah.
Now there's all types of, it's left to what I call interpretation.
Oh, brother, yeah.
And that's what this is. Woo. Because you sit there and you go, okay, cool. And obviously, you know, I'm always very, what's the word? I try to be more careful the older I get.
Yeah.
Not to be so dismissive and judgmental
I
in
agree.
my assertions, simply because I realise, Lucas, 11 times out of 10, we don't have all of the information. And we've taught ourselves as a culture to diagnose symptoms rather than root causes. That's always going to be problematic. Because you'll tell me, you'll hear my sneezing and you'll be like, oh, just go get some cough sweets. And I could have a year's supply worth of soothers, tunes and lockets. What I need is a good Saturday soup, bruv. Some yam,
100%.
some dumpling,
some sleep,
some ginger and some sleep. Rest yourself. You know what I mean?
Rest yourself.
Ease up yourself, brethren. Sit down. You know what I'm saying?
But when nefarious forces get hold of interpretable information, because, bruv, you know what? This one thing that always got me right. I remember hearing how America justified torture in the Iraq-Afghanistan wars, right?
Right.
And it's because I don't know where. I'm not versed enough in the scripture of America, but it was legislated that America does not torture. So then, when they were committing torture, they said,
"Can you say that to me one more time?"
So in the legislature, and some this was explained better in the film, in the Dick Cheney
100%.
But in the somewhere in their literature, in their foundations of what America is America does not torture, right?
Was this before or after?
Oh, this goes back. Yeah,
that's what I'm just asking. So, okay, cool. So this is obviously after Columbus. The reason I'm saying that is because we know that's a lie.
But this is how they justify it. So whilst they're committing torture in Iraq-Afghanistan, they said, well, yeah, but America doesn't torture. So no, we're doing that. We're doing some stuff. But America doesn't torture. So this isn't torture.
You may not be trying to not torture not on home soil. I mean, you may be not trying not to torture on foreign soil.
Yeah. Bruv. I heard one of the best Freudian slips in the world from George Bush a couple of days ago. What you got, Jam?
no one shall be subjected to torture, to cruel, inhumane or degrading treatment or punishment. Article 5 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Can you tell me when that was? When was that?
When was that minted?
Yeah.
This is really interesting.
26th June 1987.
Ah, okay, interesting.
So the officer's knee on George Floyd's neck was not torture because he died very quickly. No, I'm saying we all saw him die in an instant, a second, with no outcry, no outrage, and nobody in this country or around the world got together to march and almost shut down capitals and cities. No, because they don't torture.
They don't torture. Says
of 1987. At what date? Sorry, Jahmal?
26th June.
Wicked.
Right, so that was the day America stopped torture.
Please continue. No, I'm just making
no,
sure
brother,
that
I agree.
Got the facts,
100. Let's make sure we're all on the same page.
I'm not judging America.
I'm not saying anything.
Listen,
I'm a humble observer of the.
I am just trying to make a timeline so I can be within all of the information.
America stop torturing. Oh, okay, got it.
That's cool.
Good to know.
As you said,
I saw an amazing Freudian slip by George Bush. I don't know where this was from, but he was giving a talk at some, I guess, a conference, and he was basically riffing on Putin invading Ukraine, right? And he basically goes, how one man could have the audacity and the to think to wage war on, and he goes, on Iraq, Ukraine. I said, Mr. Freud, George, you did good work, bro.
Oh, George.
I thought, wow.
But it's their fault because they keep putting that man up there, and he's been making.
No, I don't know why they're weeding that guy out still, bro. To be honest,
he's been doing this since the beginning of time.
Wow.
And sometimes, and when I say that, obviously not since, but.
Well, in a way, you've seen that thing about how every president's linked to like an English king, and it's like I'm not against conspiracy stuff. I don't think it is a conspiracy thing, but what was that, Jem? Do you have something else to say?
No.
Oh, sorry, bro. I thought you had a little pull up some new information. I was like, what's he got over there? But yeah, like I mean, there's a very select amount of people that become presidents, very select journey of people become presidents. It is the same lineage or bloodline, if you will, not literally, but of actually literally in some ways, but like George Bush and George Bush Senior. But there is a very small group, so it does go back. You know, they're all connected and linked.
But we know that because we know who, other than the indigenous people of the Americas, which we know to be the Native Americans, America was populated by Europe by and large. Yeah, we're not aware of this.
Yeah,
which is why when certain questions come up about racial discrimination and prejudice, I'm like, don't talk to me about symptoms.
Yeah.
Do not talk to me about symptoms when I've told you I am only interested in root causes. So then if you're going to follow it back, you then have to ask yourself, when was the first time something like this was attempted? One would have to say when the European leaders of the world went into the continent of Africa and decided to carve it up like it was, I don't know, a birthday party at McDonald's. And I want that toy in my Happy Meal. I want that toy in my Happy Meal. I want that toy. I want that toy. So, if nature predicates culture, culture sets standards, standards execute protocols, we can get to a place where, in a male-dominated society that has subjugated and broken down the value of woman in certain positions in the workplace, you're not going to be happy that your hand was forced because you didn't bring about this change yourself because you were happy with it.
Going back to the structures within the entertainment
industry. It was when someone at the height of power was compromised.
Yeah.
And then you wait for a moment and then provide a counter argument like we have now with a person that is using entitlement.
Yes.
This is what this is about, guys. And each one, we have to understand what's really behind some of these.
The Amber Heard situation too, right?
Yeah. That's entitlement, Lucas. Because she's in a position where she's going, I can deceive.
Yeah. Well, met with extreme malice. Actually, before I even... Sorry to cut your brother.
No, for sure.
But before I even say that, I agree. I almost don't want to... How the case seems is crystal clear, right? In terms of the general public consensus of their opinion on Amber Heard at the moment. And this would be out 2 weeks after today. So this could be... this new information could come to light between now and then. Who knows? But like the current perception is that she's lying. She did all the wrong. Johnny Depp is an angel and did no harm. Well, I won't go that far, but Johnny Depp's the victim, right? Which is how it seems, and which is what I feel inclined to resonate with and feel sympathy for. But I'm also
in the first round, when we had before because there was a first round.
The initial reaction was that he's the devil, and that he was cancelled overnight. And that was one of his testimonies was my career ended then. I can't come back from that, which I thought was a deeply profound thing to be aware of. Like, but we were wrong then, right? So I don't know what happened in their houses and in their conversations, so I can't ever really be like, I'm on this side or this side. It's not about sides. I know how it looks and I know how it makes me feel, and the way she's behaving doesn't seem like normal human behavior to me. But
is the environment in which they live conducively stocked for balanced behavior? No, I'm asking because we both, you definitely, because you're in that world, and obviously I live in another dimension of that world somewhere else. Mm-hmm. We both know our environments are not stocked to keep us balanced and in our right state of being.
Well, if anything, they're perfectly equipped to do the opposite. They are perfectly equipped to tip you into danger.
These people are at a place where the word no doesn't really exist. Mm. That's very dangerous, Lucas. That's very dangerous. Very dangerous. And when I saw how, from what you told me in some background, and I love that I don't know, because obviously the people that mess with us, they'll be like, okay, cool. Luke knows a little bit. Sean's kind of getting this on the fly.
I know a little bit too much. I've been watching that trial.
But I love that because you'll be able to know whether what I'm saying is coming from what I call a pure place, and the perception. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
and
the
discernment of what's happening outside of my visual comprehension. Okay, cool. I'm touching the right things.
Yep.
Lucas, one of the things that I learned, and Jam as well, especially the last, I'd say, kind of 5 to 10 years of my life, there's 3 sides to every story. Mm-hmm. There's your side, my side, and the truth is usually somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Do you
understand what I'm saying?
100%.
Now, to me, it sounds like you are dealing with 2 people that are the same.
Interesting. What? Go on, yeah.
The reason I say this, your kids weren't feeling her. I work with young people. We work. I call kids are like, especially the younger they are, because they haven't been what I call shaped and they're not being desensitized by the world. They are so intelligent. They're like puppies. Listen, a baby starts crying, unless it's a cry baby. Baby starts crying with someone that is meant to be cool. Watch that person. I am yet to see a baby or a toddler not go to a person that there's something. And these are non-verbal conversations.
Yeah.
They're non-verbal conversations. And when he said that his kids weren't really trying to be at the yard or around, then I'm like, my man, these heavenly receptors and detectors that were sent to you and given to you, they were going off.
Bruv. And this is, for me, like, I'm not that interested in being like, well, hero, villain. Yeah. And also, I'm not trying to dismiss like the extreme abuse, it seems, that took place in that relationship, right? But like, I think there's a far more, like you said, that third story, there's a far more nuanced version of it. So these are 2 extremely damaged, broken people who found a way to damage and further destroy each other. Or, I don't know, it's so complicated though. Because at the same time, there's a lot of people who will be watching the trial. And I imagine in this context, a lot of men who will be like, am I in an abusive relationship? And I didn't even realise. Because a lot of men don't feel that's a title that's... you know what, man? That's a sticky conversation in itself. Because I'm not even... because
it's not sticky.
No, it's sticky No, you're right. You're right.
Because we're not used to dealing with it.
Yeah, no, 100% you're right. 100% you're right. But what the caveat to that, I suppose, what I mean is the full picture of that is there'll be a lot of men who will think that, right? And we'll be right about that. Our abusive relationships and being treated horribly, but never considered that because they didn't think that was something within the remit of being a man is possible, right? And on the other side of that, I also don't want to discredit the believe women idea, because I know a lot...
You can't.
You can't, and I know a lot of women who need to be believed, and so I think that's why this case is so interesting on a public level, because it's perfectly attacking the idea of a lot of men. Well, this is what happens when when you fucking start believing these women. They're going to lie to you, going to manipulate, and then a lot of men are equally being like, oh, I've been in this sort of relationship, I've been and resonate with Johnny Depp. And I think that somewhere in that mess is a solution to all of those issues. I don't really know what it is.
Here's the thing.
I'm going to regret somehow I worded that because I didn't express myself fully.
No, but I feel like I got exactly what you were trying to say.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think you expressed it in a really beautiful way is because what you really opened was, we have been forced into projected roles.
Universally,
universally in society, in relationship. I remember you told me something, and you may not even remember this. It's about a year and a half ago. We had a conversation, and you were going through an audition process, and a non-black actor came up to you.
I remember.
And said, "Oh, it's really tough." I'm not laughing, I swear.
I remember it too well, bro.
This brother comes up to Lucas, yeah? He's like, it's really tough, because there's not many roles for us. In essence, he's not said it like that.
No, bro, he did say it. Bro, he goes, just not many roles for white people anymore, there. Bad time to be white actor. Bad time to be white actor.
So, the reason why that's laughable to me is not because of what he said, because of what he missed.
Yeah.
You are equating a season down to an innumerable amount of cycles that those that don't look like you have had to silently endure. How many black actors have gone up to him and gone, perpetually a bad time to be a black actor? Not many roles around for us unless we want to be drug dealers or roadmen, or they need a big black guy in the background to be a doorman.
And they're supporting roles if lucky.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
And you're not getting marked in the first 5 minutes of the film.
I'd love, in the comments, let us know if you can think of any films where a lead black actor is playing a role that is not relevant that they're black, other than Tenet. Can you think of one film where the character doesn't have there's no reference to the fact, the story isn't driven by them being black? Where a writer wrote a script and thought, that's an interesting, nuanced man or woman or person. And
what's this the Denzel movie? He's a CIA agent, cartel. They steal the daughter, and he just goes and murks everybody to get her back.
Equalizer.
It might be.
Equalizer?
Is it Equalizer? It's either that or the Book of Eli.
Oh, where he plays the blind guy.
Is that the Book of Eli where he plays the blind guy?
Actually, I haven't seen. Yeah, that's Big Villa. I haven't seen Book of Eli.
There's another one where he's. I want to say it's Jennifer Lopez. Mark Anthony is playing the dad.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Okay.
Well, but in terms of the amount of movies that have been made and what you're saying, I agree with you completely.
Yeah,
there are a couple, but
I'm talking about they exist, but they're not readily available. I'm not saying like there has never been a film where Matt. But I mean, like I can't think of any off the top of my head, and I'm like encyclopedic about films, right? So like, there's very few I can think of, and yeah, man, it's I mean, it is changing. Like it is changing, but it's still changing in a very knowing way. But which can make it seem very performative.
100%. Which the reality, what I was really trying to get to, even with that statement, was that there was no balance in it.
Yeah.
It was holistically about me. Go on. Man on fire.
This is very satisfying.
Honestly,
it makes so much sense.
It was holistically to point out the fact that here you are in a season, and instead of learning, how easy would it have been for him to be like, Lucas, do you know what? I'm not booking as many jobs as I wanted to, but to be fair, I'm learning. Because you can now start asking some questions. Because the reality is, the world has always been inconsistent, Lucas.
Yeah.
As a human race, one of the foundational pillars of what we've always been in the negative is inconsistent, greedy, self-serving, and self-obsessed.
100%.
So then, if these have been some of the traits negatively that have dogged us, how do you not have enough in you to sit here and go, okay, cool. He's having a short spring followed by a shorter summer, and I'm going through a short winter. So since I'm meant to be quiet and non-visible because everything dies in winter anyway, let me ask some questions that's going to help me understand him. And it also might birth something in me that gives me more dimension for the roles to come.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to know how to engage my colleague and have non-verbal communication that allows me to let him know, I see you. I'm going to say that one. I see you. Eyesight is an external thing. Vision is an internal thing.
Wow. Yeah.
Eyesight, hindsight, insight, foresight. Eyesight, I look out. Hindsight, I look back. Insight, I see within. Foresight, I see ahead. Make sense?
Yeah.
And because we have stopped using vision and traded it for sight, we can get caught up where we cancel a guy for how many months, only to come back to the court of public opinion to now cancel her.
Which is why I'm trying to be patient and not reactive to the. Well, it's clearly this is happening. I mean, it feels clear it's happening, but
you know what
it's
we
been
need to do,
brother.
Let me tell you what we need to do. Someone needs to go to the courtroom, turn off the lights, turn off the cameras, put some big barricades up and down the road, tell my man to stop bussing Bob Marley coming into court. Allow it, because you weren't bussing Brother Bob before. Ease up yourself, brethren. Yeah? Ship them to an island with a judge, a therapist, and a pastor, because we need someone to pray before and after. And you, man, work out in private what happened in private.
Wow.
Hello. I don't know where Johnny and Amber lived. I don't know where they live. If I wanted to send him a card of condolence or praise or congratulations, I don't know where to send that. So since this is a private matter, unlike the will situation, because you see that happen in front of the world.
Yeah.
So I didn't ask to see that. That was thrust upon me. So I have to deal with that. But this, ain't nobody got time for that, Lucas.
Bro.
Let's learn from our parents a little bit, and let's not keep everything in the house. But some things,
for sure.
That's what I'm trying to
Well,
say.
I wonder,
and he's got kids.
Yeah.
We have kids involved in this, and with the way social media is, for us not to think that they're classmates and their parents, and they got money, and we know what we're like with people that have money. And I don't mean it in a bad way, but it's that spirit of entitlement.
But then I completely hear what you're saying, but I also have to consider the idea that from that perspective, that damage happened so publicly. The initial claim that has to be corrected publicly, because if every one of their uncles, joined up the abuser.
But why, Lucas? And this is why I always keep poking at it. Why? Because we have walked into a climate that, because women have been put in the corner the way they have been, there is a need now to rush through the balancing process.
Right.
So we don't want to ask questions, because that's not the agenda. The agenda is we must feel vindicated, and you must take anybody that is remotely looking like they're guilty of this to task.
Yeah.
Which then means when you rush anything, and I love this, I'm going to get to talk about my mum for a second. Sister Orlean was amazing. Yeah, now my mum is not clinically taller than 5 foot.
Right.
That woman raised 3 boys. And with my dad, of course.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? But my dad was very active in the church, and everything that kind of encompassed. So mum was always there. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She raised 3 boys, and we were active, Lucas. Now, on a Saturday, we all had to clean the house. So it was the jobs that was between us was, one is going to polish, one is going to hoover the downstairs and the stairs, and one's going to hoover upstairs. Yeah, because the stairs was a big
delivery
thing in
of the stairs,
bro.
The delivery.
Now, Wallace was never trusted with much of anything, bruv.
Youngest brother, right?
Yes, bro. This boy used to be trusted with the polishing. There were streaks everywhere, bro. Why? Because he wanted to get back into the back room to watch Power Rangers, and then whatever else was on Dragon Ball Z. Actually, that boy was into Dragon Ball Z differently. So my mum was never happy with the polishing because it was streaky. So the point I'm trying to make is, when you rush, you never complete due diligence. So due diligence wasn't completed when this movement of the Me Too movement started. So then you have this avalanche that's just taking everything in its path. Then you're going, but wait there, we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because now everybody just, if you even smiled at a person and think, well, I felt like and we were judging people based on feeling, and we said in last week's conversation, feeling is temporary. Yeah. So then now you're dealing with a person that is taking a person that's aware of the climate and has used that climate to aid what their agenda and what they want.
I completely agree with that. I would argue, though, that there was a necessary deluge that came with that initial Weinstein, like the big, like the taking down of that had to come with an immediate ferocity for it to be as effective, because it was so rampant. It still is so rampant. That's the crazy, like, you still hear so many crazy things. Like, I can almost, where the post George Floyd murder took the BLM movement, I can empathize with and understand, and also the necessity for, even if it wasn't perfect execution of the just complete, everything's gonna get it, like the tightening to the point where it's like, and then we can wean back from. I think we're at a point where there now needs to be like that calmer.
Of course,
some people disagree with me heavily, no doubt, and that's completely fine too. But like one of this case is the start of that. Yeah. Okay, now how do we find the fine-tooth comb version of that? How do we now start to? Do you understand what I'm saying?
And I think is we mentioned it earlier. Harvey Weinstein was not the cause; he was a symptom.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But after everybody was happy that he was hobbling into court and we're going to send this horrible person to jail, Lucas, one thing that we've always been very aware of, because of the objectivity in which we try to assimilate situations, real power is never visual. Harvey Weinstein's not running the film industry. Yeah, he's a visual version of the power that's running the film industry.
And has done since the studio days.
And you still can't tell me who his bosses are. I don't know what they look like, Lucas. I do not know their country club. I do not know where they live. I know Harvey Weinstein's in jail. So then the question I have to ask to those people, how many women got put on the board or are now majority shareholders in these things? One of the big things I learned from my favorite program, Entourage, most of the studio heads, they were bigger business owners, and the production company or that thing that branded this part of the industry, that was just part of their portfolio, Lucas. That's not who they even go to their friends and go, oh yeah, I'm in the mood. They don't care about it. Yeah. That's just a little something that gives me a little bit extra pocket money to them.
Yeah, where was the real power shift? As you were saying about
that's where we needed to see, what does this look like, so that we can now tell you whether the progress that needs to happen is happening. Because what I don't want you to do is to exchange one version of visual power with one that you think we're asking for, because all you're doing is you're putting a new face on the culture. But we know that nature predicates culture. So if you haven't changed the nature here, which is non-visual, I know the culture, that's not been changed. It's still as toxic as before. You just threw a little chlorine in the water.
Bruv. And it makes you wonder as well. It's interesting that there's such resistance, because it's not even financial, right? Have you ever heard of the Bechdel test?
No.
It's this like standard of script writing in which I think it's if there's less than 2 scenes in a film, or 1 scene might be, with where 2 female characters are talking to each other and not about a man, right? if that scene isn't in a film, it doesn't pass the Bechdel test, right? And it's sort of like a quota for like how three-dimensional are the female characters, right? So that's a fairly famous like film standard, right? Test. But what people don't ever talk about is that films that pass that test, that have that more three-dimensional female character, perform better. They perform. It was a crazy statistic. I can't exactly. I won't even guess it because I don't want to bother Jahmal looking up. But they perform far better. Why? Because half the population can relate to it more. It's more interesting. Three-dimensional female characters are more interesting. Tell better stories. Tell more absolute rounded versions of our lives. Provide a better mirror back. Yeah. So if it's not a financial thing, what is the agenda? Or not the agenda, but what is the reasoning for such resistance? And that's founded in something far more primal. I think that's founded in.
Yes, keep going. Oh, because you're pulling the heck out of the bread, and it's all unraveled. Honestly, keep going.
It's founded in, I think, an innate hatred, like we spoke about. The same reason you'd go and carve up Africa. The same reason that there's an innate sense of destructive power ownership, and I don't even want to put it down to simple terms of like big powerful white men. You know, it's more nuanced than that, but it's like the energy of that is evident. You know, the anger that people feel from that is evident.
Let me exchange one word used: hatred for entitlement.
Right.
Because hatred means that I'm going out of my way to loathe you to an extent of being anti you. Mm-hmm. Now, we're not anti them because we use them in that way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
yeah. And any person with half a brain realizes there are certain things that you need to develop, that you need a stronger balance of nurture. That is an inherent female quality. Nurture, the ability to nurture. That's why, and I don't mean this in any type of divisive way, that's why the function of childbearing, from inception of females coming into the world, that's why they have that capacity.
It's literally chemical, it's literally
but also and the way that they are built in order to facilitate that. So what we're doing is that entitlement has allowed me to get to a place where no, I'm going to shape what your function is. So I won't allow you to maximize the potential of it, because I'm going to use you according to how I understand it.
Yes.
So no disrespect. Well, actually, with all disrespect,
actually maximum disrespect.
King Leopold, bless his little, actually nothing, can go and say to his colleagues, yeah, you see the Congo is actually 80 times bigger than Belgium. I'm going to need that privately. And you can sever limbs and rape and play God because you're entitled. Based on what? Something that you think you've been allowed to think. This is why I empower my female students to a level you wouldn't understand. The only thing that balances power is love. Because love seeks none of what power has. Doesn't need it. Do you understand? The first person they need to learn how to love is themselves. No man can mess with their intrinsic value system. They don't really understand what
arm yourself well.
If I know what's in my bank account, I don't need to ask you for anything. If I know what the interest rates are, I don't need to ask you for anything. That's the basis. You can go in and change a person's intrinsic metric system to the point they don't see themselves. Eyesight, hindsight, insight. Most of us would prefer to look out rather than see within. Most of us would rather look back rather than peer ahead. That's what we're dealing with this situation, in my opinion.
And on the flip side of that, I suppose, to match the antidote to match the empowerment of your female students is the education of male students on how to break that pattern, that perceived sense of entitlement, that perceived idea of
Habit and mentality.
Mm-hmm. Those two things in tandem. Actual change, actual progression, actual shift.
I say to my students all the time, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to figure out how smart you are. I provide you with information.
Mm.
I lay it on the table. Pick.
Mm.
What you choose will tell me what's in your heart. What's in your heart will tell me what you're inclined to.
And on that note, love you, brother.
Love you too, my man.
Thank you for listening to Spill. Please subscribe on YouTube, like, comment, share this around to anyone that you think might find it useful or enjoy it.
Yes, sir.
Hope you find it useful and enjoy it. And check out our Patreon if you like the show enough to want to support. We appreciate you. Thank you to Louisa Marnoch for being a patron. Thank you to Leah Flanagan at Gut Street for being patrons.
Thank you, Leah.
Much love. We'll see you
Always.
again very soon. Thank you.
Bye, guys.